The Christie Caper by Carolyn G. Hart. Copyright 1991 by Carolyn G. Hart. This book is read by Kate Redding. Dedication. In honor of Agatha Christie, the world's greatest mystery writer. 1. Agatha Christie title clue. Beware the false face. Can't trust someone in this place. Great minds have great ideas. Neil Bledsoe enjoyed a very good opinion of himself, but the inspiration which had struck so abruptly was brilliant, peerless, and the answer to all his problems. Where the hell was that brochure? Impatiently he dumped the wastebasket, ignoring the cigar ashes and crumpled balls of printer paper. He found it finally and spread open the wrinkled flyer. Quality printing, quality paper. No expense spared. The first panel told the story. The Christie Caper, a centennial celebration of the birth of Agatha Christie, the greatest detective story writer of all time. September 9 to September 15, the Palmetto House, Broward's Rock Island, South Carolina. Co-sponsored by England's present-day crime queen, Lady Gwendolyn Tompkins, and death-on-demand bookstore proprietor Annie Laurance Darling. They'd all be there. All those bloody women writers and editors and agents and the damn pansy men who wrote whodunits instead of real blood-and-guts mysteries. Neil leaned forward, selected a cigar from his humidor. When it was lit, he rolled the oily smoke over his tongue, savoring the pungent masculine odor that enveloped him. Women hated cigars, so he smoked them everywhere, especially in elevators. Inevitably, some skinny bitch complained, stabbed a red-nailed finger at the no-smoking sign. Neil took great pleasure in telling her where she could stick it. No-smoking laws were a joke. Was some asshole going to make a citizen's arrest? Of him? He shifted his 200-pound bulk until he could see his dark visage in that prissy damn mirror that Pamela'd put up. All that was left of Pamela. A face to reckon with. Heavy black brows drawn in a menacing frown. Florid, acne-scarred skin, tougher than leather. Nobody'd ever mistake him for one of those pansy writers. And they hated him. Hated him and feared him. By God, he'd crash their party. He flipped through the brochure. A garden party, author panels, English dinners, a classic car display, a Christie treasure hunt, a Christie trivia quiz, the Agatha Christie come-as-you-wish-you-were ball. He scanned the list of authors scheduled to attend. Bubbles of laughter stirred in his chest. Holy shit, it couldn't be better. A conference filled wall to wall with his enemies. And if they weren't enemies when he got there, he'd make damn sure they were before he left. The registration form and hotel reservation slip were on the last panel of the brochure. Despite the cigar clamped in his teeth, his mouth split in a ferocious grin as he wrote his name in bold black strokes. Oh, Christ! Was he going to raise hell? 2. Agatha Christie title clue. Lucky, lovely, rich linnet. Luckiest girl in the world. Or is she? Victoria Shaw stood in front of the rural mailbox, the envelope in her hand. Her heart thudded. She'd walked up the lane too fast. Janice kept urging her to have a checkup, but what did it matter, really, how many heartbeats remained? She hadn't cared, not since... No, she wouldn't think about it. She would not. The frail hand holding the envelope trembled. If she mailed this letter, if she attended the conference, wouldn't it reawaken not only the anguish but the poisonous fury that had corroded her spirit when Brian died? Not unless she permitted it to do so. She had learned one painful lesson these past lonely years. The mind could be controlled. Not joyfully, perhaps, but effectively. Victoria had been forced to learn that lesson or go mad. This conference, after all, was at least in part a tribute to Brian's greatness. Of course, its focus was upon Agatha Christie's legacy to the world of the mystery, but Brian was one of several authors of classic mysteries who were scheduled to be recognized in a retrospective for their contributions to the traditional mystery. Brian would be admired, praised. Once again, his books would be talked about, valued. She could hear the chug of the postman's car coming up the lane. Quickly, her heart pounding, Victoria yanked open the mailbox, thrust the letter inside. 3. Agatha Christie title clue. Children's laughter, bobbing apples, too much talk, and murder strikes. Henny Brawley paced her study. Where was that damn book? She'd had it in hand just a minute ago. Innumerable sheets from a yellow legal pad, covered with her neat, precise printing, were strewn from one end of the book-lined room to the other. Despite the hour, it was just past midnight, she whistled over and over a rollicking rendition of Three Blind Mice. She hadn't had this much fun in years. Oh, there it was! Shifting a pile of Christie novels, part of her lovely new bound collection of the Crime Queen's works, Henny flipped open the revised edition of the Agatha Christie Companion by Dennis Sanders and Len Lavallo. Yes, here it was, marked by her newest bookmark from Death on Demand, the island's mystery bookstore. She whistled now in sheer delight. Ho, ho! Nobody would ever answer some of these questions. Racing back to the desk and her legal pad, she wrote briskly, "What gave Christie the idea for 13 at dinner?" On a separate sheet entitled Answers to the Agatha Christie Trivia Quiz, Henny added, "The monologuist Ruth Draper, 1884 to 1956, became quite famous in London for stage presentations in which she portrayed a great variety of personalities, ranging from a nagging wife to a peasant girl kneeling in a cathedral. Intrigued by Draper's successful impersonations, Christie's fertile mind came up with yet another devilishly original plot." Sighing happily, Henny reread her list of questions. Certainly this would be a popular part of the upcoming conference. Be interesting to see how well Emma Clyde would fare. Not that Henny was trying to show that she knew more about Christie than the island's most famous mystery author, although of course she did. As for that British writer, Henny's eyes slitted. Lady Gwendolen Tompkins. What made her such an authority on Christie? Not that Henny was jealous of Lady Gwendolen's prominence as a co-sponsor of the Christie caper. Certainly not. Jealousy was beneath her. But damn it, who'd done all the work? Henny Brawley, that's who. 4. Agatha Christie title clue. Where was Agnes Waddle? Or is this too obscure? Catherine Honeycutt didn't believe in astrology, of course, but sometimes you had to admit it was nothing short of uncanny. She read the horoscope column only occasionally, but this morning said plain as day, "An unexpected message will come your way." And here was the letter from Neil, inviting her to come as his guest to a celebration of the 100th anniversary of the birth of Agatha Christie. Catherine would never have expected Neil to be interested in that kind of conference. Why, he'd always sneered at the Christie books, even said they were written with all the pizzazz of a Quaker Oats cereal box. Neil only liked those nasty, gory, brutal novels. Who wanted to read books like that? Catherine could pick up her morning paper and wallow in rape, incest, and wife abuse if she wished. She certainly didn't wish. But Christie, that was another matter altogether. Catherine hurried across the bricked floor of the den to the bookshelves filled with Christies. She reached up and touched the gilt letters on the black spines. Her brand-new set. Neil's Christmas present to her. Sometimes he could be thoughtful, even though she was just a little bit cynical about his motives. Such a beautiful set. Of course, she'd kept her old ones. They were friends from the past. So many favorites. Remembered Death. How could anyone ever have thought Rosemary Barton would commit suicide? N or M? Look what happened when they tried to put tuppence out to pasture. Christie loved to make the point that older women saw much and understood much, and the world should take heed of their wisdom. Catherine reached up and fluffed her soft white hair. Surprising how many people had commented on her resemblance to Jane Marple. just because Catherine, too, was tall and thin with snowy white.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?